Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Asakya Nishakarine Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Gita Gaur Premanande.
Hari 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 Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Gaur Premanande Harivo. Vancha kalpadrishta kripa sindhu pyaevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning for the first of two presentations about the monthly Sankirtan festival, also known as MSF. And we're always looking for excuses to come together yet again and again to meet with all the devotees, the Sankirtan devotees from around the world, because doesn't it feel right for us to be together and sharing the joyful process of Sankirtan? Yes, it does to me. I really was missing this feeling of being together and knowing that we're moving together in the right direction. After the two big marathons we had last year, and congratulations everybody for us together as a global team smashing the goals, not just in Bhadra Purnima, where we aimed at 10,000 sets of Bhagavatams together, and we ended up with 24,000 sets distributed, Haribol, and also 2 million Bhagavad Gitas. Someone asked me yesterday, what does 2 million Bhagavad Gitas look like? And we were trying to imagine a football stadium or something filled up with 2 million Bhagavad Gitas. And I said, it looks like the beginning of something big because 2 million can be scaled up when we work together. We can look at, why not look at, if we can look at 2 million, we can look at 4 million. If we can look at 4 million, we can look at 40 million. And the limit is only designed by ourselves, and Lord Chaitanya is there to back us up. One of the ways that we can advance in the process of scaling up book distribution all over the world is through the monthly Sankirtan festival. So today I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and make the following prayer. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, Shri Shri Gornitai, Shri Panchatattva, and all the assembled Vaishnavas and great Acharyas, if you so desire, please empower our global team so that we may...
Всем привет! Меня зовут Влада 4! Габиков!
Тихо, мать.
Это мой...
Мать
so that
чек.
we may please empower our global team. Hey, that's what happens on
Чё
Sankirtan.
базаришь?
That's just,
Заткнись.
please
задрал.
empower our global team so that we may work together and develop a mood of service together in order to please you and to go on increasing Sankirtan so that souls all over the world can take advantage of the sublime movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in part or in whole, please give a thumbs up on your reaction screen or live. Yeah, the live one's good too. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Today's presentation will include a few philosophical points and also some testimonials from devotees who are organizing the monthly Sankirtan festivals around the world. So first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it started for us. Actually, Prabhupada started the monthly Sankirtan festival because he asked the devotees, and Tredas Prabhu, who's here, and other senior devotees know this, back in the 1970s, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that at least once a month, or maybe he said once a week, everybody in the whole community should go out together for book distribution. And he said, you can leave one pujari back to cook and take care of the deities. And I remember being in New York City in 340 West 55th. That was that big skyscraper building Prabhupada liked so much. And there were at least 250, 300 devotees who lived in that building. And so we took Prabhupada's instruction to heart. And on one particular weekend, the first time we did it, everybody went out for book distribution. At the time, I was part of the brahmacharis a party, and we were going out every day to distribute books. And I was thinking, oh, all these people who don't distribute books normally. I saw mothers with their children in preambulators with some Sri Upanishads tucked in the side, going out the door, everybody out. And I was wondering, well, what will this actually do? It's a nice exercise, but what will the result be? And the next day, when that is, our leaders announced the scores, I was stunned at how huge it was, with a lot of devotees each doing a little bit. Not only that, there was a palpable increase in the mood of ecstatic engagement in the Sankirtan movement throughout the whole building, in the whole community, because everyone had a chance to go out together and experience what it's like to walk out the door and feel that embrace of Lord Chaitanya when you take a risk for him. And so later, when I came here to Silicon Valley and we started our little tiny community with just a few devotees, and we were wondering how to get a community started. And I suggested, let's try this what Prabhupada suggested. And we started going out once a month. That is everybody, which was about 5 or 6 devotees. And, that's how it started. And we just called it the monthly Sankirtan Festival because it was fun for us to go out together to a couple of spots. And after the first outing, everyone said, let's do this every week, because it was so fun. And I said, let's just try getting steady at once a month first. And then after a few months, a few devotees said, this is really hard. Let's do it every other month. And I said, how about if we just stick to once a month and get steady? And after a while, we did get steady at once a month. And what we found is, because we had a point in time that we were preparing for every month, we made improvements, as each time we tried to make it a little bit better than the last time. And we also found that it helped the whole community, not just the Sankirtan department, but everybody in every community was benefited. There was residuals. There were residual benefits for everybody, every department. And then as we improved, then we found that the scores would improve, and we started setting bigger and bigger goals. And then we found that it's actually a viable way to expand Sankirtan. And what happened is, many devotees in due course of time decided that they really like Sankirtan and book distribution, and they wanted to do it more frequently. So what was once a once a month program became really a constant process of going out and improving every time we did. And now, at least at our center here in Silicon Valley, devotees go out every single weekend without fail. And some devotees go out all the time, even during the weekdays. And everybody's accommodated to do that. And we've experimented with spreading the monthly Sankirtan Festival to other centers around North America and the world. And the same principles work everywhere. And so today's presentation is an attempt to offer those principles to any of you who are in the community and you would like to inculcate the basic ideas that Prabhupada brought about Sankirtan in a very gentle way, in a way that can be integrated into the whole community so that everyone can experience the joy of book distribution. And as a quantitative goal, we, between now and Gaur Purnima, we will establish at least 10 new monthly Sankirtan festivals around the world. So if you are starting a monthly Sankirtan festival, even if it's just a few devotees deciding to try this, please let us know, because we would like to measure how we do and get at least 10 new monthly Sankirtan festivals started. So with that, I'm going to show you a few slides this morning and go through the process of describing the MSF. You'll notice the phrase at the bottom of this announcement: transform your community through Sankirtan. Sankirtan is a process of worship. It's a way that devotees can be active in worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus achieve transformation. And Sankirtan means we do it together. So there can be collective transformation throughout a community of devotees. And as a global community, we can share that transformation with one another. And that's what we're doing here. Today, I'll speak about the benefits that communities get from book distribution done together and throughout the whole community. I'll give a few principles of the MSF, and you can get used to that acronym MSF. It means Monthly Sankirtan Festival. I'll talk about some enlightened leadership principles, things that we've learned while doing the MSF that guide us now in our Sankirtan. Us means in the global team, in places where we are connected with devotees who are doing the Sankirtan on a community level and who have found that these principles work. They're enlightened principles for leadership that anyone can apply and get the same result. And then I'll review the 4 laws of book distribution, because we find that these are infallible, and always keeping these as a foundation to building Sankirtan is effective. So first of all, we offer our respectful obeisances again and again to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, whose infinite compassion drove him to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world. And he always encouraged us in his letters and in his lectures and even in his purports that we should get involved. We should feel part of this, to go out and save the world, to be part of this great mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's so easily expressed through book distribution. Book distribution is perfectly aligned with Srila Prabhupada. He loved books. He wrote books. He brought books. He distributed them himself. He was very interested when we distributed books. He calculated how to distribute more. He encouraged us to calculate how to distribute more. He wanted us to cover the earth. So if you decide to get into book distribution, you are aligned with Prabhupada. It's an unassailable service. At the International GBC meeting every year, they've designated the first presentation always to book distribution, because everyone, that is all the senior devotees in that body, know that it was a premier program. Perhaps we could call it the tip of the spear of the Sankirtan movement that was perfectly aligned with Prabhupada's desire. And it must always be given importance. So if you decide, yes, I'd like to do this, know that you're aligned. It's aligned with the parampara also. The previous acharyas, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and others were very keenly interested in organizing in such a way that people all over the world could get contact with Lord Chaitanya's teachings and they could get the benefit. So if you're passing that on to those of you, to those who are taking shelter of you, many of you I see here, you're teaching others. And if you pass on that same mood to them, you are aligned with the parampara, and that is, yes, organize your household, organize your community, organize your life around the principle of giving. And that is not outside the purview of being in spiritual consciousness. In fact, it's the very essence of the Panchatattvas mood, and that is that they work together to form a loving network through which everyone could be drowned, using the words of Kaviraj Goswami, in the ocean of prema that Lord Chaitanya brought. So feel free to immerse yourself in this. This is the way that you'll attract the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who will infuse in your heart the desire for bhajan, for chanting Hare Krishna. Shushu sho shodatanasya vasudeva kataruchi syan mahat sevaya vipra punya tirtana shevanat. If you serve great souls, and this is a way to do that, then they will give you mercy. They will give, what is that mercy? It's a desire to hear Krishna Katha. The mind wants to reject it, but if you get mercy, you'll know it, because you'll think, I don't want to hear anything but Krishna Katha. I don't want to speak anything but Krishna's names and Krishna Katha, and how to spread the Sankirtan movement. The order of Krishna is a manifestation of his internal potency. This is something we can hold on to. This is a rope that will pull us all back to Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, become a guru, go out and save other people. Make yourself qualified. The qualification level is not that high that everyone can't somehow or other take this order and make him or herself available to Lord Chaitanya to go out and spread Krishna consciousness. So you should know, we should know, that when we do that, to whatever degree we can hold on to the order of the Lord, we are holding on to the internal potency of the Lord. This is Prabhupada's statement in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of his internal potency. You may ask, how do I find the Rag Marg? How do I find Krishna's internal potency? It's in his order. You take it as a rope and you hold on, and that rope will pull you into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. By worshiping the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Sankirtan, one then comes to the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. You don't go separately. We go through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sankirtan is the life of transcendental knowledge. I mentioned before that the mood of collectively going out into the world, whatever the goal is, it's not so important. The main point is cooperation and agreement on saving the conditioned souls, and doing so through book distribution and so forth. It lifts all the other aspects of our communities when we work together. As a rising tide lifts all boats. And that's why Srila Prabhupada wrote in his 7 purposes of ISKCON, that the seventh purpose of printing books, literatures, magazines, periodicals, etc., would fulfill the aforementioned purposes of ISKCON. That means he listed 6 purposes, which are all huge projects unto themselves. And he said the 7th purpose, printing, distributing books, would actually allow us to achieve the aforementioned principles. So again, the concept, the metaphor of the tip of the spear is appropriate. If you take to this, it doesn't mean that you sacrifice other programs. It means that you give energy to them so that they can be lifted as well. Because after all, really management and development of projects is for managing the results of our outreach. The outreach is the part that stimulates everything else. People join a movement because they want to move. They don't join a movement because they want to sit around. They want to feel, we want to feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but we want to feel like we're part of something that's making a difference in the world. And we have a movement. What is the move part? It means we have to move together in a direction. Of course, individually, we have to move as well. So there's a Chinta Beda Bed Tattva. But when we're moving, then we feel satisfied in a movement. So being clear about what direction we're moving and being able to measure that we're actually moving is important. One of the reasons book distribution is so important is because it's so measurable. You can count how many books you distribute, and you can count how much you realize in return for those books in the way of Lakshmi points and so forth. You know when you come back from Sankirtan, or you don't go out anywhere, you're just behind your desk making phone calls, you know how many units have moved and you can increase it. Last year, we did 2,100,000 plus Bhagavad Gitas. We can measure that. And in measuring that, we know, okay, we did that, we can do more. The next time, we feel as if we're moving together. I got so many responses from around the world, from leaders, just appreciating that last year, all of us who are on this call worked together to achieve that, smashing that goal of 2 million Bhagavad Gitas. And they felt that this was the best part of 2020. So the whole movement gets enlivened when we feel that we're moving. And in the MSF, there's a measurable way in which we feel that we're moving forward. So here is one of the basic tenets of the MSF and of organized book distribution, Sankirtan, and that is success is not a mystery, it's a recipe. Everyone say that, please. Success is not a mystery, it's a recipe. So like, well, how did you do that? It's like, it's a recipe. I baked the cake. Yeah, how did you do it? It happened by chance. The ingredients just fell in. It's a joke I have with my godbrother Bhubaneswar Prabhu, the great cook in Krishna Balaram Mandir. He invites me to take Mahaprasadam. He cooks the Raj Bhog. And I'll say, this preparation is fantastic. It's amazing. And he says, yes, it happened by chance. He says, yes, the ingredients just fell in. This cauliflower soda, it fell in, he said. No, the book distribution program, the MSF, is not a mystery. And it doesn't happen by chance. There's a recipe that we can follow through which we can calculate what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. So here are some basic principles I'm going to talk about, and then I'll stop for a minute. This has been a long monologue so far. I'll stop in just a couple minutes and take some reflections and questions. We also have testimonials, which will make things interesting, because hearing from devotees who have actually tried this in various places around the world and have had it work will be stimulating to hear. So here are some principles of the MSF to start with. Number one, Sankirtan is for everyone. At some point, we might think, or we have thought in ways of utility or efficiency in ISKCON, like we designate, okay, this person's a cook, and this person's an accountant, and this person is a book distributor, and you do your job over in your corner, and someone else do your job in your corner, and never the twain shall meet. However, we're in a Sankirtan movement, so everybody's a Sankirtan devotee. How about that? We all should have the opportunity to go out and experience it. It doesn't mean you have to go out every day. Even if you go out for 5 minutes, you'll get the similar effect. But the point is that we go out together. And if you consider this, everybody is a Sankirtan devotee. Everyone can participate. Therefore, keep this mantra going. Sankirtan is for everyone. Child, elder, brahmachari, grihasta, even animals can do book distribution. If you have pets, invite them. They might want to come too. Shivananda Sain did it. A dog joined the party. He said, you want to be part of the Sankirtan movement? You can come with us. That's the mood. If Shivananda Sain brought his dog, we can bring our dogs and pets too. Bring your parakeet. Parakeets are very attractive. They can distribute a lot of books. The next principle is a lot of devotees, each doing a little bit. This is a stable model. When everybody does a little bit, they do what they can. And we consider that everything counts. Even the smallest contribution is important, and we appreciate it. Then everyone will be encouraged to come into the process and do a little bit, whatever they can do. I remember when we first started our MSF here, there was times when devotees would call, they were just learning how to do book distribution, and they would call up and say, hey, I distributed 1 book today. And we would just celebrate like anything. You distributed 1 book. This is the most wonderful thing that ever happened. So whether it's 1 book or 2 million books, we should celebrate everybody's contribution. And when you do that, you'll find there's a kind of growing energy that envelops the community, where everyone feels, yes, let me do my little part also. It all adds up. Remember the little squirrel with Ramachandra? And the squirrel was pushing in some grains of sand into the ocean to build the bridge. And Ramachandra had admonished Hanuman for asking the squirrel to step out of the way because he was impeding progress. No, he said, he's doing his level best, his part. So that's the mood of the monthly Sankirtan festival. Let everybody participate according to what they can do. Strength in numbers. When we go out the door together, when we feel, okay, everybody in the temple's doing this according to their level, oh, it's so enlivening. You see everybody going out and just walking out the door together. It's really scary to walk outside the door, to go outside your comfort zone, because nobody knows what's going to happen, and our minds are used to comfort, and we don't want to change anything. We just want everything stay the same, the way it is in life. And we don't want any major disturbance or minor disturbance for that matter. And so walking out the door to expose yourself to anything can happen in the greater outside world is a little scary. So when there's a number of devotees doing it together, then everyone feels okay, just like the cowherd boys. Remember when they walked into Aghasura? They went in together. They said, okay, Krishna's there. He's going to protect us. So let us walk in. Let's go right into the mouth of this beast. And Krishna's thinking, what are you doing? And he went in to save them. So Sankirtan's like that. When we all go together, laughing, smiling, remembering Krishna is going to help us, then we feel this ecstasy, this collective ecstasy in the community. That's what makes a nice community of devotees, when we're all feeling that electricity, that sense of taking a risk together for the Sankirtan movement. That's why people join a movement. They want to move. So keeping strength in numbers is very important. And now I'm going to stop share just for a second. And I'm going to take a couple of reflections or questions at this point. Anything that you heard so far that's stuck in your mind about the monthly Sankirtan festival, or an abiding question that you have so far from what I've covered? And we can take them from the chat box, I suppose, or I don't know if it's possible, but I think it may be possible for somebody to individually unmute and then give a reflection or ask a question. Yes, we got here a message we're getting from Diva Nitrina that is, you can always unmute yourself or raise your hand. So that's possible. Okay, Satyarupa Gauranga Prabhu. Prabhu, go ahead. You can speak.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Are you able to hear?
Yep.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. I was there like I was there 9 months in ISKCON Silicon Valley. I associated with that, and afterwards I moved to Texas, Austin. So when you say that I stuck my mind like it is we need to work on it. It is a not mystery, it is a recipe. When you said that, so we need to think how best we can distribute the books. So one when my local temple president given us like a goal, we need to distribute 1,000 Bhagavad Gitas for the last. So I just thinking like in this COVID situation, how can we go out? So we couldn't go. Then so one of ISV member, and I touched with ISV member. They said that why can't you try in local grocery stores? Then we set up a small book stand, and we put the cost is one book is $10, and we are offering at $7. Then we got immense response, and we covered all the grocery stores. So like this kind of ideas we need to come up, otherwise we cannot proceed. And thanks for ISV for helping us to succeed in distributing the books in that way.
Oh, thank you very much, Satyarupa Gauranga Prabhu. It's so good to see you, and congratulations on your success. This success is guaranteed because Lord Chaitanya is our backer. A spiritual entrepreneurialism is rewarded in Krishna consciousness movement by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wants us to do startups. And when you do a startup, you'll find that you get intelligence and direction and resources. And that's the miracle of the Sankirtan movement. Try, jump, and the net will appear. Take a risk and see. That's how this movement was founded, on a huge risk, getting on a Jaladuta. So go for it. We have Sri Ram Prabhu from Hyderabad, and then we have Shubha Vilas, a premier preacher who's always online teaching about Krishna consciousness. Let's hear from Sri Ram Prabhu and then Shubha Vilas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble
Hey,
obeisances.
Sri Ram, Haribo. Sri Ram Prabhu is one of the leaders of the book distribution movement all over the world. He specializes in India. He's been part of the Indian Sankirtan leaders team, has been strategizing for many years now, and is behind many of the huge increases that have taken place in India. Thank you, Sri Ram Prabhu. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. As India, all the temples are gearing up for MSF. One success I would like to share in Mangalore. Way back, we started MSF monthly. Even now, devotees go, it turned from MSF to weekend warriors. Like they got so much taste. every weekend devotees goes, even like a new member joins the community Bhakti Ruksha. In the next week, they are in the streets. So I can see that the devotee itself is getting empowered, and how he progress in spiritual life coming on the streets. So that's something we tried it, whatever you mentioned some years back, and it's like a fire. It's now set it up. I'm not there, but it's going on very successfully. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Sri Ram Prabhu. And you see that if you start the monthly Sankirtan festival in a very easy way that everyone can join, it's fun and easy. There's no heavy goals. There's no reason to perform or anything like that. It's just the event of going out together. And as you'll see, touching the pavement, it grows from there. I love what you said about it, how it's a fire. You start the fire, a little kindling, the fire itself takes hold and grows. Yes. Shubha Vilas Prabhu, thank you so much for being on here and for all the preaching that you're doing. Please tell us.
Krishna Guru Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Just like this point you shared, that Sankirtan uplifts all the devotees and all the other services as well. And Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is backing us and take the risk. So this COVID time, there was a lot of risk. We were not sure, should we go physically or should we just keep doing what we were doing online? But somehow in the Kartik month, we said, okay, let's take the risk. There's calculated risk. We did all the mask and the sanitizers and stuff. So we set up a book table during the Damodar month at one of the grocery stores. And then of course, many people came. Many people got the books, and one lady came in and she said, I was praying to Krishna to please engage me today in his service. And you asked me to offer lamb. I'm so inspired that how did this happen? And then I was reminded of you that people are waiting, when will the messengers of Gaurnitai come and knock their doors and take the message of Krishna consciousness? And now this person, this Mataji, is coming every day for the Srimad Bhagavatam calls, and every morning for the Japa calls and in chanting. In just like matter of couple of weeks, she got the Bhagavatam set and she got all the books also. So this was certainly very, very amazing, all by your blessings and prayers.
These anecdotes they give us life, because we see individually how the touch of the monthly Sankirtan festival affects a person's life. And then we can extrapolate from that, how there are so many unseen incidents. We don't know what the effect is. We just know it's there. I have this desire and a prayer asking Lord Chaitanya that please, at the time of death, show me all what happened to every book that I distributed during this life. Where did it go and how did it affect somebody? I'd like to see that right when leaving my body to remember the ecstatic, involvement in the Sankirtan movement. Everyone, there's an effect for everyone. And when we see the individuals, then we remember, yes, this is why it's important. Thank you very much for sharing that, Shubha Vilas Govinda Prabhu. Okay, so now I'd like to take a testimonial from His Grace Narottam Priya Prabhu, who is in Mumbai. And I'll just let him speak for himself, but I would like to say that he's one of my favorite devotees on the planet. He's clean as a bean, and there he is, clean as a bean. And he's a clean-hearted devotee who's made significant strides in helping to expand the Sankirtan movement through the MSF particularly. So we'd like to hear from him what his experience is. Welcome, Narottam Priya Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam.
Jai.
So this MSF that we started in around 2015. And this was after your book OFB came out. So I read it, and we had attended a few of your lectures online. And so then I thought, let's try this, let's start. And what you mentioned earlier in your presentation, that Let's be regular once a month, not more, not less. I read that. I remember even in the book, and we started, and it's been the biggest boon for our preaching, because in Indian temples, especially in big temples, there is no shortage of people to do services, and especially for the congregation, there are hardly any services that are left. And most congregation devotees, they come to the temple once a week, and their services are primarily donate in the form of donations. So we got everyone together, and initially devotees were a bit reluctant, but we kept going, and I saw that it increases the team spirit in such a nice way. Devotees start cooperating with each other, because it's just like two soldiers on the battlefield. They may be from opposite parts of that country and may be politically completely opposite and all, but when they are there, they have to be nice to each other, and they naturally start to encourage each other, and then they develop a bond. So we saw that with our team also, and devotees started getting close to each other. They started appreciating each other. Not only that, we many devotees initially have this fear for distributing books. I may get rejected, or I don't want to be seen like that. So we would encourage them, just come, hold a book, get water for devotees, distribute the prasad, and in this way, devotees started finding out their own niche in the MSF. Okay, I'll do all the packing of the prasad. I'll issue the books. There's one Mataji in our team. She has a big car. I'll drive everyone there. The back of my car will become a book display unit. One devotee who loves to serve prasad, so he would go and make sure everyone has coconut water and water bottles, and everyone found a way to get involved. And eventually, most of them became very good book distributors. We also saw then they started reading the books, and by your mercy, actually, we started chapter a day. It's been more than 1.5 years. We are on our second reading of Bhagavad Gita, and everyone joins in. And during the lockdown, we started reading Srimad Bhagavatam together. uh, India was put in lockdown for 21 days, so we thought 21 days is easy. We'll read Bhagavatam together for 21 days, and then we just kept resetting as the lockdown kept increasing, and now it's become a program where every night 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. we log in on an app and we read Bhagavatam together, and 9 o'clock we read Bhagavad Gita shlokas and one translation together. Uh, so all of this I give credit to, for all of this to the MSF. When devotees started distributing the books, they got more interest to read the books, and they became spiritually stronger. So many of our devotees who started MSF last month got initiated, and it's a wonderful way to engage the community of devotees, to expand your community, because we meet new people. So we put stickers on each book with the phone number and everything, and people join us. They participate in new programs, and I'd just like to give two short stories. If can I do that?
Oh, yes, please. We're drinking this in. It's total nectar.
Thank you. So few years back, we had Mumbai is a very big city, so very spread out. So we had started a new congregation program in one part of Mumbai, and we were having MSF in our locations near Juhu in one mall. And one lady was coming down the mall. This is a very popular mall, and one of our devotees on MSF handed her a book. So she was a little apprehensive, but then she took it, and then she said, "But I stay very far. I'll never be able to come to your temple." And we found out she was in that exact location where we had started a program a week prior. So then she started coming for the program, and after a month of coming, she told me that, the day I met your devotees, just 3 days back, I had been diagnosed with cancer, and I was so low that I just wanted to go to the mall to take my mind off it. And I met the devotee. She's still around. She's chanting 16 rounds. The program in her area stopped, but she's still around, and that was just because she got the book. And just last week, I was in a store, and the salesman, he saw me like this, and he said, "Hey, I met y'all in February, that before the lockdown." And he described the location, and sure enough, we had done an MSF there just before the lockdown. So he bought the first canto of Bhagavatam, and he said, "This book actually took me through the lockdown because I was laid off, and I kept reading." So I asked him, "What did you like the most in that?" And he said, Queen Kunti, when she says difficulties come and that bring us closer to Krishna, I was facing so many difficulties and this book got me through. Where do I get the rest of the sets? And so then I told him the price and he became a little discouraged. But we had some sets left over from Bhadra. So then we gave him one set and he was so happy. And like this, we have so many stories of people getting connected, and most importantly of existing devotees becoming stronger in their spiritual life and really identifying with Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada's books. So all glories to the MSF and all glories to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu for coming up with this and for giving us all the tools in his OFB book to make this possible. So to all the devotees, if you've not read it, please read Our Family Business. It is a lifeline for anyone to want to start book distribution. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Narottam Priya Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I'm so happy to see you. And I'll mention two reasons why it's so important for his testimonial. This is kind of a clinical study in this principle that this is a recipe. It's not a mystery, because Narottam Prabhu, he took the recipe and he just applied it on his own, and it worked. He took the principles and applied them. The other very important point that I took from what he said is that the congregation is eager to do service. It's not a classification that puts people outside the realm of doing direct service to Lord Chaitanya, that you're in the congregation. See, when people come to the Krishna consciousness movement, they want to move. And the best place to move is on book distribution. And it means that if you give a facility for people to join in and do that service, they will rise to the Madhyama platform very quickly. And they'll also, as he said, become interested in reading and interested in initiation and everything else. That's why book distribution is the tip of the spear. And that's why two very important points that Narottam Priya brought out among many. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, dear devotees, we've had some reflections, and I'm just going to give a few more principles if everyone's okay. Is everyone all right? You okay? Okay. Tradas Prabhu, you okay? You're better than okay. Hare Krishna. He's way better than okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going back into the slides. So here we are. So this is just to the point. Malini Preeti, I see your hand up. I'll come right back to you. Thank you. Sorry, I missed you before I went back to the slides. I really want to hear what you have to say. You see down in the left-hand corner, it says creates jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, politicians often when they're running, they say, if I'm elected, I guarantee jobs, jobs, jobs. Everybody wants a job in the Sankirtan movement. Nobody wants to feel marginalized. The Sankirtan movement is hiring. We are hiring everybody, whatever talent you may have. We have a place for you in the all-encompassing project of expanding the Sankirtan, the book distribution. There are places for engineers, there are places for mothers, there are places for creative minds. Everybody can be engaged in Sankirtan, working together to expand the glories of the Lord. And book distribution makes it very organizable and measurable. So if you want to engage your whole congregation, get everybody, including children, elders, congregation, and pets involved, then start a monthly Sankirtan festival. It builds community spirit. As Narottam Priya Prabhu just illustrated, the devotees come together and they start cooperating because we emphasize teamwork over individual accomplishment. It's one of the basic tenets of the monthly Sankirtan festival. We're all in it together and we cooperate all for one and one for all. And the community spirit becomes noticeable that emanates from the monthly Sankirtan festival. Now, everybody who's sitting watching this morning is breathing, I hope. When you breathe, you're taking in oxygen. Every cell in your body is drinking it. You have to have it for your brain. You have to have it for your cells. As an organism, you need to breathe. So ISKCON is an organism. We have various organs. Together, we're one body. We're a corpus. That corpus has to breathe. What is oxygen for us? It's the experience of depending on Lord Chaitanya and going beyond our fear into the great unknown. That may be from a phone. It may be from going on the street. It may be from raising your hand in a meeting and saying, I have an idea of how to expand the book distribution. All these ways of putting ourselves out for the sake of expanding the Sankirtan are a kind of breathing. So when we go out into the great unknown to distribute books, we'll have these unmatched, unparalleled experiences that we feel Lord Chaitanya's presence within. And when we bring that back into the community, that's the oxygen. Everybody knows when you're working with people, we're all individuals, and therefore everybody, I guarantee you, in the last week has had some kind of a disagreement or an argument with somebody, right? Please say yes. And this means that we're individuals. That's all it means. So if we stay within the walls of our community and we don't go out, we don't bring new people in, then what we get is a little citadel in which we sit and argue about everything. However, when we go out to help others, we take all those disagreements, problems, and so forth, and just as when we exhale, the carbon dioxide goes out into the atmosphere, gets reprocessed, and we take in the oxygen. So in order for us to have healthy communities, we have to go out. We have to be reaching out to others and having these experiences, as some of the devotees have just recalled. Then we're breathing. And if we don't breathe, we'll turn blue and become unhealthy. Here's another concept to inculcate into your community. Now, book distribution is not for collecting money. Book distribution is not for just hitting some goal or being part of a marathon or showing up on a list somewhere. What is book distribution? It is high sadhana. You'll find this throughout the teachings of all our acharyas. And that is, for instance, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when describing Lord Shiva's magnanimity in drinking the ocean of poison to save the world, Shukadev Goswami says, Tapyante lokatapena sarva prayasojana parama aradanantadi purushasya kilatmana. He says, those who take some tapasya for the sake of giving others Krishna consciousness are worshiping the Lord in the best possible way, parama aradanam. It is the highest sadhana to take trouble upon yourself in order to give Krishna consciousness to the downtrodden, to those who don't know anything about it. They're souls, they're part of Krishna, and that's what makes us close to Krishna, is taking trouble going outside our comfort zone in order to bring other people closer. The next is, and I want everyone to say this behind muted mics, repeat after me, please. Book distribution is fun and easy. One more time. Book distribution is fun and easy. Keep saying it because it's true, and teach it to your congregation. Book distribution is fun and easy. If you organize your MSF properly, you're going to find that it's fun and it's easy. Okay. I'm going to come back and ask Malini Preeti to give her comment, her reflection, before I go to the next part.
Hare Krishna,
And
Vaisheshika
tell us
Prabhu.
where you're from and everything like that, so we get an orientation, because we're from all over the world here.
Hare Krishna, Vaisheshika Prabhu. Please accept my respectful obeisances. I'm from, my name is Malini Preeti Devi Dasi from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Okay, so So, okay, Prabhu, I just wanted to understand, like, because I just wanted to ask the question, because whilst I understand that this MSV is more on not on a lockdown situation, where congregation members get together and they do weekly or monthly Sankirtan. But I wanted to know, how would MSV work on a lockdown situation?
Yeah, MSF, Monthly Sankirtan Festival.
Sorry,
Thank you for your question.
MSF,
I
yeah,
think that was
sorry.
a combination between ISV and MSF. So if I don't mind,
MSF, sorry. Yeah.
well, I'll ask Malini Devidasi, who's here. She's the co-Sankirtan leader at the ISV program. How did the principles of MSF work? Just give a summary of how they worked here at ISKCON Silicon Valley or anywhere else that you saw during the lockdown. Tell us.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, always Prabhupada. The principle of the MSFs actually are continuing in the lockdown. What we feel that the main principle is to engage the devotees in service. And during the lockdown, there is a very small group of devotees who are going out on book distribution, but we need a lot of packs of books. So devotees are taking books at their homes and they're packing and delivering those book packs for the devotees who go out. That is one service the devotees are doing. Second thing is we are doing our MSFs on the calling party that you all might have heard. We get together in a similar way, like we used to go out on book distribution on the streets. We get together and we call people on the phone, and we report the scores immediately and encourage each other. That is another thing that we are doing. And there are a lot of devotees who are helping in the back end in shipping. Though we are not going out physically because we are taking a lot of orders on the phone, there is a lot of shipping service needed. So a lot of devotees are engaging in picking up the books and shipping them safely through USPS. That is another thing that is continuing through the MSFs. And there are some devotees who want to cook. They like to cook. And what they are doing is the devotees who are going out in Sankirtan, they're providing them prasadam. So as soon as the devotees come back, they have fresh, hot prasadam available for them, so that they're doing this back-end services and they're feeling so happy. And what we have seen is that devotees who have never distributed books before, they have come forward because of this calling party and making phone calls. So all the principles of MSF are actually continuing in our lockdown here at ISV.
Thank you very much, Malini. And isn't it also true that some devotees who like to cook, for instance, there was a cookie marathon, 10,000 cookies were baked, or that I should say Hansapriya and her team cooked 10,000 cookies twice, I think, and those all got distributed. People on lockdown, they're sitting there in their houses and apartments thinking, when is Lord Chaitanya going to bring me a cookie? That's what they're actually thinking. And then when you bring them a cookie, they realize God, and they say, God brought me this cookie. Right, Malini?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. We did it twice. We had a big, we used to have a big festival for Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving, Harinam, where we used to distribute about 2,000 Bhagavad Gitas in a day. And we were thinking how we will do it. But as you mentioned, the devotees actually made this 10,000 cookies and they packed it very nicely. And they went and distributed to the neighbors. And I think we distributed almost 5,000 Bhagavad Gitas like this, once during the Thanksgiving and once during the Christmas. Twice we did it. And the responses were overwhelming. Devotees were getting thank you notes from the neighbors. So devotees were able to establish relationship also with their neighbors, which they never did before. And everybody was so grateful to receive cookies, books. And many people said that, oh, I wanted to read this book for a long time, but never had a chance. Thank you so much for giving this Bhagavad Gita like that, Prabhu. It was very nice, very encouraging.
So if anybody ever feels bored with life or in their devotional community, for any reason, and it can happen, it's just the way the mind works, get prasadam and distribute it. You know, one of the lifelines of the MSF is distribution of prasadam. Nobody ever gets upset when you distribute prasadam. Even the angriest, crankiest people on earth, you give them a little prasadam, they become your friend for life. Everybody likes it, and it's so blissful. So what's to stop us? Nobody can stop us. If we want to make 10,000 cookies, say if we want to make 100,000 cookies, and we want to distribute them to everybody that we meet, who can stop us? They could call in the Air Force and we won't stop. And you'll feel ecstasy doing it. So, you know, get prasadam distribution going. You'll feel happy. Everybody will feel happy. Now, before I hear from, we all hear from Prema and Premi, who are a huge part of the global Sankirtan. We're going to take a 1 minute and 16-second break. 1 minute and 16 seconds. So you have a minute and 16 seconds to take a little break and come right back now. Don't you all go away.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. So now let's hear something from Prema and Premi from South America.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna,
Dandavats for all of you.
Hari Hari Bo.
We are very, very happy to be here, and we would like to share with you something about this wonderful program that we started in 2017 after we meet you personally in Mexico, and we inspire with all this wonderful service. And we started in Argentina, especially in Buenos Aires. So I can put some pictures. We are very happy doing these books, prasadam. We distribute prasadam, and with the Harinam also there. New people come to the program, and we teach them very quickly how to distribute books, because they are very willing to distribute books. So we give 10 books and we say how to do it in an easy way, and they were very happy, very, very like in ecstasies. They say, oh, I distribute one, here it is. The people are very happy, and they distribute prasadam. And this, I encourage everyone to try this. It will change your life. and all the community.
Yes, and also it was wonderful because we were doing like for some years Harinam every Friday, but when we start with this program, more devotees start coming, thousands of devotees, like kids and senior devotees, families, and they all feel so happy and enthusiastic in their spirit life that it changed our life and also life of the people when we go out. So thank you so much, Vaisheshika Maharaj, for inspiring us and all the ISB group, because without you, we don't do all of this service. Thank you so much.
Please do it. Haribol.
Haribol! Thank you very much, Prabhupad. They have a thriving community down there in South America. And one of the reasons that it's thriving is because they have a collective sense of purpose, everybody working together towards this goal and feeling the magic of going out on book distribution, Sankirtan together. This is happening in real time. These are real things that are happening. Now we have some testimonials. I'd like to ask Anukul Seva Prabhu to show us. Let's take it, Bhakti Marg Swami. Recently, he called me. As I said, leaders from around the world called in to appreciate the work that all of us, that is all of us here on this call today together did as a world team. They appreciated the team spirit and the results we got. So Bhakti Marg Swami was one, and he made a testimonial video. So Anukul Seva Prabhu will just show that now.
I would just like to say that my participation in the Sankirtana efforts here in Canada and Toronto has been very rewarding for me personally. And I've seen that our very enthusiastic group in Canada, especially in Toronto where I reside, they've done a phenomenal job. It boosts the morale of the community. It gets everyone to work harmoniously like a team in the spirit of cooperation. It gives everyone a purpose, and there's nothing a greater gift than sharing the wisdom of the Lord. So I get very excited. And in the last marathon in December, I called my godbrothers, a good number of them, and I asked them, can you get involved? Can you sponsor some Gitas? They were happy to do so. And so now we're on a roll with them. Thank you.
Jai, Bhakti Marg Swami ki jai, Haribo. Nandini Kishori, please tell us, she's been one of the great innovators and the real movers of the Sankirtan movement here in North America and around the world. So give us some insight into what you've been seeing from the monthly Sankirtan festival.
So I see that no matter when, no matter how, whenever you go out, Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and Prabhupada has sanctioned at least one person who is going to come and take the book from you. And most of the times, most of the times you're just a witness. It's so effortless. It's just like autopilot mode. You know, you're driving, you're on the road, and sometimes there are signals and you stop, and sometimes you just go full speed, and it's really amazing. Just you're a witness, and any devotee is involved. Any and every devotee is involved. If they are not outwardly involved, they feel so much guilt that they do so much help. They will sponsor the books, they'll make you the cookies, they'll talk to you, they'll encourage you, they'll write good words for you, and just each and every devotee, you scratch their surface, and they're the best of the book distributors. It's just sometimes circumstances may be preventing. And that's my realization from both the recent campaigns. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nandini Kishori. What she brought, I'd like to emphasize a point that she brought up. The yagya, the Sankirtan yagya, is the means through which we worship Lord Chaitanya and we worship the Lord in general in the Kali Yuga age. Book distribution is the Sankirtan yagya. chanting Hare Krishna is the Sankirtan Yoga. Going out to spread it together, to chant Hare Krishna and distribute the Brihat Bhaganga books, that is working together. Now, when you set that up, when you organize it as a monthly Sankirtan festival, what you're in essence doing is building a fire pit, as were done in the days of the Rig Veda. The fire pit was constructed geometrically. There were certain parameters through which you would offer into the sacred fire, ghee and other commodities like grains and mantra. And so similarly, when you set up the MSF in your community, it makes a fire into which everyone can put their valuables. We want this. For instance, in communities that have a lot of grahastas who are earning something from their hard work, they want a place to put those, to offer them directly to the Lord. The fire of Sankirtan is one place, and Nandini Kishori mentioned it. And so did Maharaj, Bhakti Marg Swami, that people, they're sitting there with a burden on their head, and that is they have money and they don't know what to do with it. And it's a problem because the government's going to take it. It's got which bank account should I put it in? And it's a huge burden unless you know where to put it. So when you make this MSF and you say, everyone put your money in here, you say, today we're going to collect $200,000 so we can distribute 100,000 Bhagavad Gitas. And everyone will come forward and they'll say, I'm going to put in 5,000. I'm going to put in $5. I'm going to put in. And when they do it, they feel happy. They feel happy because that Lakshmi is no longer a burden. It's actually a source of life for them. So every community that has this burning fire, a place that will consume their Lakshmi, then becomes alive with the yajna. SKP is weighing in here. He's the other half of the co-Sankirtan leaders here at ISV over the last few years, many years, actually, more than a decade. Please tell us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, just want to let you know that the ISKCON Laguna Beach, Prabhu, many years ago, your grace have been there and started the MSF. That is, I think, one of the first MSF in our satellite temples. So they are from past 8 years. They are doing excellent service under the direction of with Krishna Prabhu. And Prabhu just was talking to him yesterday. Is that how? Like I remember the day. The entire congregation want to come with you on the Sankirtan, Prabhu. So that small community is coming together. It is making a lot of big impact, as you mentioned in the presentation. Even I traveled to ISKCON Madrid, Prabhu. They want to start MSF under your direction. So even it's just a small storefront temple in Madrid. They are every week, every day they're distributing books and Spanish books. Everybody have this have a great impact when you start this MSF, Prabhu. As you said, touch the pavement and come back. Thank you.
Thank you, SKP. And this is another case study, is Laguna Beach, California. When we went down there and met all together, maybe it was a decade ago or so. Yes. And we just analyzed how many books are you doing now? What are you doing? And so there was a number, but it was on the low end compared to what they could do. But just by one meeting and deciding to work together towards a worthy goal and starting an MSF, a monthly Sankirtan festival, they increased by thousands of percentage points over the next couple of years, and they've never looked back, which is just a little bit of organization towards the MSF. And there are many such case studies around the world. It works everywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, SKP, for all you're doing. Hare Krishna. I'm going back into the slides so I don't leave you empty for this session. We are continuing next week also with many more details, but I don't want to leave you without some extra details right now. And so here I go again. Yes, no pressure to perform. So one of the reasons that devotees don't come out for book distribution is they think that there's some pressure to perform. So when we introduced the MSF to a community, as an example, we would have a meeting and we would train the devotees a little bit about how to distribute books, but we emphasize again and again that you don't have to distribute any books. Just come out and see what it feels like to walk out the door into the great unknown. And we have this ritual we call touching the pavement. Here's one community that we all went out together, and the only ritual was to go out and touch the pavement. So that's what we're doing there, is touching the pavement. And we say, once you touch the pavement in the spot that was designated to you, you're finished. That's it. That you don't have to do anything else for the day. That's all you have to achieve. So Akadashi Vrata is on the call today. She's from Alachua, Florida. Maybe in a minute she can tell if that ritual is still going on in Alachua when the devotees go out for book distribution. Are you there, Akadashi Vrata?
Yes, I'm here, Maharaj.
Do they still do that when they go out? Of course, it's been locked down now, but have you maintained that ritual?
Well, up to before lockdown, yes. And we would take pictures of everyone's foot touching the pavement.
So thank you very much. And anything else?
Well, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. Well, actually, we had a nice festival for the Prabhupada marathon. That was very nice, and it was fun actually getting together with the devotees and packing up the books. And we did the distributing the Gitas in the bags, wrapped up like nice gifts, the way you all suggested at ISV. So that was actually very sweet. Yeah, and still on our Friday Harinams, we have devotees who distribute books just standing on the street corner to actually when the cars are at the red light, they just go up to the cars in a safe way, and they've been distributing lots of books that way as well.
And this is a carryover from the organization that you made before the lockdown, and it's been a steady engagement for many devotees in the community there.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you
yeah.
so
And the
much.
books, many of the books are sponsored actually by devotees in the community.
Nice. Another example of the fire. Thank you very much, Akadashi Vrata. Hare Krishna. So this ritual helps devotees to remember that we're not going out to perform or for some kind of fruitive result. It's just because we're doing the right thing. And we emphasize teamwork in a festive atmosphere, make the Sankirtan festival fun. And look at the faces of the devotees here. This is in Toronto. It's freezing cold outside, but everyone's having a great time because they're together and they're distributing prasad and books and Harinam. The other point is goals are potent. One of the tenets of the monthly Sankirtan festival is to set goals, whatever they may be. It doesn't necessarily have to be with how many books. There can be other types of goals that you intertwine, but once human beings see a ladder, they want to climb it. And if you take the risk of collectively setting a goal together, you'll find that your entire community becomes energized towards working towards the goal. And Prabhupada did this constantly. He also told his leaders that you should always make a fresh challenge so everyone will want to rise up and meet it. And I'd like to mention some of the devotees around the world. There's been so many that have worked together just recently on this global team, but we have devotees, leaders on this call today from France, from Lithuania, from Sri Lanka, Italy, Singapore, Belgium, Russia, Ireland, UK, Malaysia, Latin America, Canada, North America, India. And, you know, our team here, we have devotees that are dedicated to helping support the MSF. They want to assist you with tools and personal assistance as much as you need to get started. You can lean on these devotees. They're into it. That's their life and soul. They know what they're talking about. They have the goods. They have the recipe. They'll give it to you. If you look in the chat, you'll see some links that will be appearing in a moment, in a couple seconds, that you can get in touch, and you can have a personal coach who will help you get your MSF started, so that they'll walk you through it. There's the stuff. We also today have some questions that are coming in. Question: how to handle greedy actions of hypocrite siblings in early period of life. Well, one thing is to always emphasize teamwork over individual efforts. The individual efforts always get recognized anyway, and Krishna makes them apparent, but we're finding that leaning towards teamwork and cooperation and teaching this is very, very helpful. Kautukarnava says, Sankirtan is for everyone. Everyone doing a little bit makes it huge. We have a question from Yogendra Krishna Prabhu in Sri Lanka. It says, what is the order of distribution of books for new devotees? Small Srila Prabhupada books, then Bhagavad Gita and SG. I'm not sure what SG is, or any other principle determining the order. Sometimes it is set to distribute full sets. It really depends on your particular area, but generally you can get together and decide which books are your main priorities. And the general rule is that devotees distribute the books that they like the most. So find out which ones they like to distribute and distribute them, and also find books that are relatable by the public. A reflection from Lakshmi Priya is that she said, what stuck with me is that everyone can do Sankirtan. In this pandemic, we try to do book distribution among our friends on the street, etc. A reflection from Achyuta Arjun Saka in Whitefield, Bangalore. Hey, Bangalore devotees, ki jai. I like the point that we as individuals are able to peacefully coexist when we go out on Sankirtan, else we turn blue and simply sit around arguing. Yes, this is a very important point. The Kanishta Adhikaris, Prabhupada says in the Sri Upanishad, just sit around and argue amongst themselves about what's the right process, what's the wrong process. Madhyama Adhikaris stay up all night thinking about how to expand the preaching. Which would you rather have in your community? And if you start an MSF, all the Kanishtas will become Madhyams, and they'll stay up all night, lose sleep, thinking, how are we going to increase the preaching? And that's where we want to live, really. We don't want to live on a plateau and just argue with each other. It doesn't do anything to help. Rati Manjari writes, I like the point that we as individuals are able to, I read that one. Rati, again, these MSFs are like autopilot. You are just a witness to the arrangements of the Lord. He will at least send one person to you to get the mercy. Yes, she's reflecting on the comment that Nandini Kinshori made. And then Sri Ram Prabhu, can you explain how books and Harinam go together? Yes, when you have Harinam and book distribution, there's several effects. One is when they're together, you have more engagement for devotees who like to go out and do Harinam, but they may not be ready for book distribution. That's one benefit. The other one is that if you have Harinam near the book distribution, then all the book distributors are in a bubble, protective bubble of the holy name. And you can notice it if you have the holy names going in a Harinam party, and then it stops. You'll notice the noises of the city and whatever comes back in all of a sudden. You don't know what you got till it's gone. So the two, Prabhupada said, go very well together. So combine them and make it a fun festival and engage the people who like to chant. So we're coming near the end. Now, I've got a lot more material to share with you, very practical points about setting up the MSF, but I'm saving it until next week so that you'll all come back, hopefully. Please do bring your friends. Let's get this started around the world and in your particular areas. We do have all these things compiled. It's not that it's not available. If you contact us, and there are plenty of links on the screen here in your chat box, we will be responsive. We want to help. We want to work together as one world team. We want to inundate the planet with book distribution. Frankly, 2 million books, Bhagavad Gita as a marathon is a very good start, but we would like to do more than the Gideon's Bible Society. They're doing 10 times more than we are. Why? Why aren't we doing 100 times more? Why not cover the earth with books and prasadam and the holy names? Why not work together? So I'd like to hear now from one of the emerging heroines of the Sankirtan movement, coming all the way from South Africa, who's been very instrumental in keeping the recent campaigns going around the world. Her name is Tirumala Devi Dasi. She's an artist, she makes videos and a great organizer, and she's going to give us some insight into what's coming up next. Please go ahead.
Hi, Krishna. So notes from today's presentation will be sent to all the participants. Part 2 of this training series will be held next weekend on the 21st of February. There will be an Oceania edition, which will be held on the 20th of March. There is personal coaching available. So for those who are interested in personal coaching with area experts, resources and training material are available. There's also a global MSF leaders group. So once you take a sankalpa of organizing an MSF in your area, you will be added to the global MSF leaders group for ongoing support and resources. Also, we've made note of all the questions in the chat box, and if we were unable to answer them today, they will be answered in the next session. And for more information, you can send us an email at info@bbtbooks.org. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Tirumala Devi Dasi. And I'd like to end today, at least for now. As I say, we're loaded up with tons more material for next week. But I'd like to just mention to you the next campaign. It's already started. So just so that you have an idea of what's going on around the world and what you can hook onto. This is called the Be a Gardener campaign. For those of you who were feeling morose that the Live to Give campaign has ended, we have for you a Be a Gardener. So I'm going to ask Anukul Seva Prabhu to open that up, and we'll walk you through it of what the current campaign is. It started, don't be alarmed, it only started recently, but it culminates on Gora Purnima, and you'll see the beauty of this campaign. It's called Be a Gardener, Sow the Seeds of Bhakti. And it's featuring the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some of you are aware that there was a huge marathon. Prabhupada wanted to make the Chaitanya Charitamrita available. This time of year, it's a good time to remember the importance of the Chaitanya Charitamrita and bring it out to your community and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Starts February 1st, it ends on March 28th. Here are the campaign goals, and these are light goals, as you'll see, because we just all came out of a huge marathon where we were shooting towards big numbers and pushing everyone out the door and so forth. These are light, just so we can stay together. So the first one comes under the law of book distribution. Your sadhana must be strong. Encourage everybody to read and share at least one verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's in the mood of just touching the pavement. Just one verse. Share at least one verse. Listen to at least one Srila Prabhupada lecture on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you'll see the suggested, here's a really beautiful lecture. It's very short. You can pass it around your community. And maybe we'll put that in the chat box also, that particular lecture, so you can listen to it and pass it on to others. You can use hashtag be a gardener, by the way. The next one is to take an inventory of your Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita sets. Where attention goes, energy flows. Take a look. Just this is all you have to do, is look and see how many you have in your inventory. If it's 0, note it. If it's 1, note it. If it's 5,000, note it. Just know where those books are. And as soon as you know that you have them or don't have them, it's going to make you more aware of the book itself. The next is make at least one set of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita visible. So if you have a set, bring it out. It's not going to sell itself sitting in the book room in the case. And I guarantee you, somebody on this call who brings out a Chaitanya Charitamrita, puts it online, because we're all on Zoom, show it to people. Just point to it and keep saying, here's the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And you could have this for only $100 or $200 or whatever it is. They'll take it, I promise you. And you're going to go into ecstasy for having distributed a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas. It'll start a revolution. Then another one of the goals is to inaugurate at least 10 additional monthly Sankirtan festivals globally. So here we're depending on all of you. If you're interested in starting, even in a small, simple way, all you have to do is make the sankalpa, the goal, and say, we are going to do it in our local community. Let us know, and we'll tabulate how many of you out there are open to starting a monthly Sankirtan festival, especially knowing that you're going to get guidance and tools and everything else that you need to make it happen. Every town and village, bring the magic of MSF to your community. Today is the 14th. Next week is the 21st. We'll be starting, is that correct? 6 a.m. PST?
It's 6:30. 6:30.
It's 6:30. Should say 6:30.
Yes, we go.
6:30. Make that adjustment in your mind. And also on the Oceania edition will be 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So, because we have to keep accommodating all the global leaders, we do at different times. You're all welcome to come to all of them if you want to. Please do. We want you there. But those are what's upcoming. And today we had participants here on the Zoom call, 160 at least. And then we had thousands have joined us on Facebook and other venues. These recordings will be available for anybody to watch. And I can't overestimate that we have tons more to show you, very practical points that will help you to start your MSF. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Panchatattva, Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please empower our global team to expand transcendental book distribution all over the world so that we can please you by our cooperative efforts and inundate the world with transcendental literature and Srila Prabhupada's books. Thank you very much for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Great Shishika Prabhu ki jai.
Premanande Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol.